Hi and welcome back to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏. Today guys, we're going to be jumping into the world of Singularity NET, specifically taking a look at the price action of AGIX. As we get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button. We really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏. Right, with all that said, done, and out of the way, let's jump on down to the desktop and take a look at some of these AGIX charts. Okay guys, so here we are on the daily. Obviously we haven't got too much data actually available to us. Obviously AGIX is a new contract that was only really kind of launched out here. If I actually show this on here, I think it was June that we've got data from in terms of Binance. Now when it comes to AGI itself, the previous contract for Singularity NET, there was a lot of data and we could see some pretty interesting numbers being kind of predicted out for the bull run. Now obviously with a new contract it makes it a little bit more difficult, but we've also got some fundamental changes also happening, right? We're currently operating on Ethereum, and they're also building on the Cardano ecosystem. And the Cardano ecosystem is going to allow Singularity NET to do more than it has ever been able to do before. Okay, so there's a fundamental shift and change that could see some differences with data overall. So whereas we were looking at $7 to $8 range for Singularity NET or AGI in the previous contract and the previous data, we don't actually really know where things are likely to go when it comes to AGIX right now. Now, obviously, we can speculate, and that's pretty much where a lot of this video is going to go, unfortunately, as to what we think is likely to happen once things start to really heat up. There's a little bit of technical stuff showing some interesting numbers that, again, would be gains on our current position. So again, I think they're likely to occur. I think ultimately, there's a lot of kind of promise in the future as well as to everything that Singularity NET is trying to do as a part of an entire ecosystem that could really shape the future of the space. So a lot of fantastic things to kind of get across. So let's start off with this daily chart, and I just want to kind of compare a couple of things that are quite interesting from the data perspective. Okay, one is obviously we had the pullback from September. Okay, we found a nice low area for AGIX. This came in at about 25 cents. Let me just hover above the candle. The low was 25.49. Okay, this is this yellow box area is the buy area for us. Okay, on Singularity NET AGIX. This is an area that we've been coming into, hovering around and touching on, and then moving on out. Now you can see obviously we've been trading sideways, right, between a few key areas. Predominantly between 41 and of course the lower area that we've been at most recently of about 29 cents. Okay, we can see that we've been kind of bouncing around here, and we fell down a little bit, consolidating, and we actually end up with a bit of a triangular wedge forming between these. If I actually just draw that on there, for example, you can see between our support level of 29 cents and, of course, all these wicks kind of coming in together, you can kind of see that we are forming a triangular wedge, okay? And this triangular wedge with a constant bottom, but a decreasing overall, we could potentially start to see a bit of a break to the upside in due course, right? The resistance that's coming down isn't going to be, sustainable forever. Now, what's really interesting about this sideways trade is it's very, very similar to Cardano, okay? Cardano has been trading sideways as well around its 618, 702, 786 area, i.e. any between like $2.15, I think the 786 is, and down to about the $2 range, right? We've been bouncing around there for Cardano. And this is exactly what's happening for AGIX as well. And I think there's a few other projects that are also kind of tied in around what is going on with smart contracts on Cardano, and obviously creating this sideways trade. People are kind of ready for that big launch, but we just need a couple more things to kind of get across the line for the Cardano ecosystem. Now, what we can do is obviously take a fib, and we actually take it from our area pre-pump up to the higher area that we actually achieved at 66 cents. And actually we can see that we come right down to the 618, the 702. We haven't actually come down as low as the 786, right? So we can see that the retracement levels are pretty much exactly where we'd expect them to be, right? So we had the retracement that we were looking for just above the 786. We then bounced from there, and we've kind of rested on the 702 at 28.8 cents. Okay, this is an area, again, you can see that we've come into my buy zone, and we touch on it and just move straight on out. Okay, this is basically the 702 area of the Fibonacci retracement tool. Again, obviously the 618 comes in at 33.3. 3 cent. Again, another area of resistance, as we can see within the candles here. Previously, there are a couple areas of support, but pretty much predominantly resistance right now. So interesting to kind of note that ultimately, we are trading on the same kind of retracement levels as Cardano, but Cardano has that fib actually in reverse. It's actually the other way, and it's actually bouncing back down to a previous area of support for it. Whereas on AGIX here, what we're actually witnessing is the retracement and then just holding that retracement level, trading sideways, ready for that push to the upside overall. And when we actually take into consideration the high and the low of September, we can actually see this moving out to a 4.236 extension of $2. Okay, and that's a move of about 521% from the current price. So again, not too bad to see, but I still anticipate us actually moving up significantly higher. I would be very surprised if we do not see a $5 AGIX token, if I'm being honest with you, just because of the sheer level of hype and functionality that this particular project is delivering. If we do see that, that's 1,450%. So again, I think there's some interesting levels to be had here when it comes to AGIX, and the future will kind of tell exactly what happens and as it unfolds. This is a project that I do think it's important to lock some profits in on the way up during this bull run, and of course to make sure that we accumulate heavily in the bear market, because I do anticipate AGIX, 𝗕𝗓, NewNet, and a whole host of other spin-offs from the Singularity ecosystem being absolutely massive come the next bull run. But obviously, we'll have to have a look in the bear market, do the analysis, do the research on all of these projects, the use case, the utility, the functionality that could be delivered, and whether that is something that our portfolio will want at the time. I anticipate that it will at this point in time, but we do not know how things fundamentally shift and change within the next 6 months. So overall, everything's looking pretty good from a daily perspective. Now we're going to get into really interesting kind of stuff when we jump down into our hourly view. Okay, so we've been analyzing this with the members of Cheeky Crypto. So obviously, if you're not on Discord and a member, then you probably haven't seen this. If you are a member, then you would have seen me drop this in a couple hours ago on the charts, right? So basically what we're looking for here is basically to find out what's likely to happen next, right? So we analyze the hourly chart. We can obviously see the pullback into the buy zone. Okay, so we start here. This actually occurred on the 5th, so that was yesterday. We pulled right down into the buy zone, right? We can see the buy zone got hit. We didn't come right down to 28.4 cent, but we came into the yellow box area starting at 29.3. Okay, we then started to get the reversal, the big push to the upside. We pulled back a little bit, just taking out that stochastic from the overbought area down to oversold, and then we soared right up again back up into overbought area. Then we obviously surged up again. Even though we were lowering our stochastic RSI down, the volume continued to come in, just pushing us up a little bit, and then we started to come right back down into the oversold area, resting on top of our 32 cent support line. This is holding quite nicely for us, and we are looking for that reversal back to the upside, where we anticipate 2 price targets. Okay, we have a conservative target of 34.4 cent. That's where we're likely to go before seeing a reversal. I think that's a conservative target, with a more optimistic target coming in at 35 cent before we actually see the reversal come back in. And what we're looking for here is an ABC correction, either coming in at 35 cent, where we see a pull back, and then obviously another surge to the upside afterwards, or we'll see the ABC correction come in at 34.4. I think that ultimately it's important that we have both of these depending on people's risk tolerance as to where they're likely to go. But for me personally, I like my conservative targets. I like to get in late, get out early, all of that kind of good stuff. Lock the profits in, and obviously have a strategy. Now, obviously, I'm not offering you financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. It's important that you do your own research. We use TradingView to draw up all of our charts and use all of their indicators, etc., as I have drawn here. I urge you guys, if you haven't already, signed up to a free account with TradingView and try to replicate what I am drawing out here to see if you come to the same conclusion. You're the only one responsible for your own investments. I am not responsible. I'm not a financial advisor. You'll be hard pushed to find a financial advisor, in fact, on YouTube. This is just something that I see within the data and where I will be looking when it comes to AGIX. So I think ultimately buying down nice and low here was a fantastic opportunity that we could have been had. Again, if I'll just actually throw this down, if we were actually witnessing this yesterday, we would have driven up some pretty significant profits of about 22% on this journey to the upside when it actually completes. If we actually get in from where we are right now, we're talking about 9% up to the actual target. The conservative target does bring it down a tad, and I'll just go ahead and pull that in. That shows us at about 7%. Okay, so again, this is just about scraping profits whilst we can and whilst we can see it here in the data. Again, if you remember, you're familiar with what we're doing in terms of the member-only live streams, where we're actually going through some of the live trading on many different projects, right? And this is kind of what we're doing. We're scraping profits and building and accumulating bigger positions as we go. But this is what I'm seeing when it comes to AGX on the smaller time frames. We have a good buy zone that could have been had yesterday. We're moving up nicely. We've come back. We found the support, and we're continuing that growth. Ultimately, if we actually jump up to a 4-hourly chart, and actually just expand this up a little bit, what we're really looking for is either a couple of things. We really want is an impulsive move, right? We want wave 1, wave 2. We want to push up into a wave 3, pull back for a wave 4, and then pull into a wave 5. It's whether or not we actually have the momentum for that. I don't think we do. I think actually what we're actually going to be doing is an ABC corrective move to the upside, an A, B, and then a C coming in at about 35 cents. I think that's more probable that we are likely to see a move like that, and then follow this up with an ABC to the downside. Again, that could be a pretty big one. But again, I'm not selling my bags of Singularity NET, right? I'm basically still hodling. I'm not selling. I want to be very, very clear right now. This is just a way to basically accumulate more if you want to. Okay, not for everyone. And again, it's high risk if it goes wrong. That being said, I'm pretty comfortable with what I am doing here inside the charts. So guys, I'm going to leave this video there. Obviously, there's a lot to kind of consider and to think about when it comes to Singularity NET. Obviously, there's not a lot of data readily available to us on the charts. This is pretty much because we're a new contract. That new contract obviously is going to have a huge impact based on whatever happens with Cardano. Okay, so the fact that they are building to launch and are going to be one of the first projects to launch on the Cardano ecosystem, it's going to be an interesting time, and I think there's going to be a lot of FOMO activity for Singularity, specifically over the next couple of months, once we start actually getting the ecosystem that is Cardano up and running. The spin-offs that Singularity are doing in terms of Singularity DAO and NewNet, those are also going to be pretty big in my opinion, specifically as we go into the next cycle. Guys, if you have found this video useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.